let's make a bead. First we're going to start with the mandrel, and we're going to grab the spinner, and with our thumb on the end of the sleeve, we're going to push it straight in until we're partway down the mandrel, far enough away that we're not going to burn our fingers or anything. But let's see, we're going to turn it on and we're going to check to make sure that the mandrel is straight and that there is no wobble. This one has a slight wobble to it. As you put it up against a straight edge, you can see it wobble. So you're going to stop the spinner and you're going to twist just a hair, and then you're going to twist again, and then you're going to twist again, and you're going to check for straight. And this one looks really good now, so it's all it needed, just a little spinning. I'm going to light the torch, and I happen to have the oxygen cracked, and it lit it, and it popped and surprised me, so we're going to do it again. Adjust the flame. And I'm going to go bring the behind the scenes and take this mandrel out of the spinner just so we can do it again. Show you all over again. So we're going to go straight in. If you happen to go in at an angle, you're going to open up that sleeve that we tightened before, and it's going to be loose. So straight in, hold your thumb right where it is at the end of the sleeve so that it doesn't push the sleeve in as well. You're going to go push the mandrel to the right spot, and then we're going to check for straight, and it looks pretty good this time. So we're just going to get going. So the spinning mandrel will warm up really nicely. So when I put it in the flame, it doesn't take a whole lot of time to get it to heat straight through. So what I usually do is heat up the glass at the back end of the flame while I'm heating up the mandrel, and then when it's ready, I'll just trade places, bring the glass a little bit closer into the flame, and then we're gonna get a gather and just touch it lightly to the spinning mandrel. Pull it away carefully. Small gathers are really good, so I tend to do a lot of small gathers instead of one big gather. You're working pretty darn hot, so what I usually say, here I'm stopping the mandrel so that it can droop, just to show you that's what happens when you stop. Always, all you got to do is heat it back up and put your glass rod against the bead, and it'll spin it back into shape. So hot bead, hot glass, hot rod, and you touch them to each other as it's spinning. You pull the rod away before too much of your gather is gone, very carefully, and you should be good. Next, we're going to pick up a marver, and I'm going to show you what the first thing I saw when I saw a video was Scott doing this, making a barrel shaped bead immediately. As soon as you get your glass on the mandrel and you heat it up and you put it down onto the marver, it'll shape it into a barrel. And I was doing handles at the time that were taking forever to get into shape, and I knew I had to have this tool. So edges, the ends are a little wobbly, so I'm straightening out the ends by putting it up against the edge of the mandrel, the edge of the marver. This is a spinning marver. The two barrels spin freely, and you just put your glass up and it spins. Really cool thing is that gap in the middle, you can put the mandrel down into the gap, one side of the mandrel and then the other side of the mandrel on the other side of the bead, and you can shape it into a barrel, curved barrel, a bicone. It works great. Such a slick tool. I'm going to straighten the ends out a little bit because they are a little wobbly. So I heat up the end of the bead, and I've got a stringer tool that I've made, and I just drag it through the hot end. I'm on top of the flame, not through the flame, and it just drags it right through, back into circle, back into a straight line, and then I just marver it. It's a great way to get puckers on your beads is by pulling the glass toward the mandrel as you're moving. We're going to add a little bit more glass so I can show you what I do to make the bead even longer. I heat up the end of the bead, and I do a little bit of a gather, and as it's spinning, I add the glass to the end of the bead instead of to the mandrel. And then I start pulling it onto the mandrel, over to the edge of the mandrel. And you can see I'm always going back to the end that I'm not heating up, and I'm just doing a quick little insurance heat. It's so easy to do and easy to remember when you are working on one end. It's just becomes natural, and it heats up so quickly as it's spinning. So reheating, insurance heat is a breeze. Now I'm just going to lay down a line of ivory just to show you how slick this is. Using my thumb to slow the mandrel down just a little bit, spinner down. Lay down a little line, melt it in, marver it. Now I can take and stop the spinner completely and lay down a line of dots. And this is going to be a double line of dots. We're going to do some feathering. We'll just rake it right down the middle. So melts those dots in really nice. We're going to take a matching stringer tool, and we're going to cup up on top of the flame with the bottom of the bead still in the flame, and just touch it, and it just spins right through. Feathers really nice. You can slow it down and get not as much of a stretch of the feather, but you can see it's pretty slick. So simple. Such an easy little technique to do. We're just going to warm up the bead, give it some insurance heat, shape the ends a little bit better, and we are done. So put your thumb, we're going to find the pliers that have a serrated edge. It's important. And we're going to put our thumb on the end of the rolling spinner and pull it partially out. Don't pull it all the way out. And then you just use your hand to pull the rest of the way out. A little bit of heat. And we are good.